Welcome it everyone to the Football Addicts Anonymous podcast. A little late on time, a day late on show. We're all kinds of discombobulated right now.
But we're here and we had football.
Yes, sir. We did have college football this weekend. I lost the bets.
We had a few head scratching moments. One in particular.
Nothing went to plan this weekend. Everyone was dumbfounded by what happened in all the games, especially the bettors, who I know. So we're gonna talk NFC East at the end of the show. Also preview the Thursday night college games as well, which one team that is on my shirt plays Thursday. I hate that they play Thursday, but it's okay. We're gonna get the dub. We did have college football week 0. Western Kentucky, they are 1-0, 38-27 win over Austin P. Little bit tougher than the Hilltoppers might have thought it was going to be. Austin P, though, they are a good FCS team. Consistently in the hunt. They are in what are they in?
Is it the Big?
I don't remember what conference.
Big South? Possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
I can tell you the SoCon because I am now.
Okay, they are in the A-Sun.
A-Sun.
Which currently has, I guess with I haven't paid attention too much to restructures in FCS, but conference restructuring I think might have hit the A-Sun badly because they only have 6 teams. So yeah. But anyways, Western Kentucky, Austin Reed, his debut transfer from West Florida, had a very good day. Not completion percentage wise, but 279 threw 4 touchdowns. But yeah, the Govs just kept around. Mike DeLello did a nice job. Even while turning it over 3 times, they still only lost by 11, which is an issue for me when I live bet them at minus 14.5 for Western Kentucky, and they were on the Austin P 5-yard line and up 8. 3rd and 2. I was like, bro, that's easy. They're gonna get that. They're going to score on this play, or if they don't, they're going to get the first down. It's only 2 yards. Nope, stop for loss. Loss of 1, kick the field goal, go up 11. Then they even had another chance. They got down to the Austin P 5 again. Austin P didn't have any timeouts, 38 seconds. WKU kneels the ball, wins by 11. And Mark's going through the mountains, so we lost him for the moment. But, the running game, decent for APSU. Josh Samuel, 20 carries, 77 yards, 2 receptions, 7 yards. Not so great for Western Kentucky, but Irvin Poindexter there, almost 50 yards on 15 carries. Couple receivers had great days, actually 3 of them. David Davis, Western Kentucky, 6 receptions, 124 yards, 1 touchdown. Also ran the ball once for 15 yards. Dre McCray, Austin P, 6 catches, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then Malachi Corley had a whale of a day. 5 catches, 61 yards, and then 3 touchdowns from Austin Reed. Defensively, my defensive player of the game goes to Western Kentucky's Jock Evans. 13 tackles, 9 of them solos, 2.5 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss. Had to shout out defensive back Upton Stout as well for the Hilltoppers. 3 tackles, 2 solos, and a 34-yard pick 6. Austin P covered plus 32.5, under 72 hits. And here's the one everyone's been talking about. Northwestern beating Nebraska 31-28 in Ireland, in Dublin. I had the under in this game. That didn't go well. lost by one score, 8 points. Casey Thompson did look very good in his Husker debut, especially early on. Looked very, very good, throwing a touchdown early, and then ended up having 2 picks, rushing touchdown. But I think more of the story, Ryan Helinski, I didn't really know who the quarterback was going to be for Northwestern this year. Helinski returned, and he was lights out. I mean, accuracy on point, 71.1%, 314 yards and 2 touchdowns. The biggest key, he didn't turn it over. And then a guy I did know, one of the 2 guys I did know on Northwestern, Evan Hall had a whale of a day. 22 carries, 119 yards, 1 touchdown. Also, one thing I didn't know he could do necessarily, 5 catches, 55 yards. Sort of looking like how Justin Jackson used to play at Northwestern there.
Yeah, he had a great game. He was fun to watch. And I went with Nebraska just because they've been, before this they were 6-20 or 7-20 in 1-score games, and I'm like, okay, this year different narrative, right? And then we all want to talk about it. You're up 28-17, and you onside it with 3:09 left in the third quarter. I mean, I guess if it works out, you look like a genius, but it did not work out, people.
Yeah, that's one that you got to know who you're playing against, right? You're playing against one of the longest tenured coach in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
Pat Fitzgerald. He's got to have his guys ready to go, special teams or not, and it doesn't help also when your kicker kicks it right to the guy in the front row. But yeah, that was an interesting decision. I was happy. This was the one bet I did win, Mark. Despite picking Nebraska pregame, at halftime they were up. Northwestern was up 17-14, and they were still plus money. I got him at plus 155. Cashed that for the only win of the week 0 slate. But Evan Hall's running mate, Cam Porter, had a great day too. 19 carries, 94 yards, a touchdown. Did have a fumble that I was mad about, but ended up being okay. Anthony Grant for Nebraska had a 100-yard day as well on the ground. 19 carries, 101 yards, two scores, and a catch for 16 yards. Couple receiving performances that were good here. Isaiah Garcia Castaneda, say that 3 times fast. IGC, 4 receptions, 120 yards, a touchdown, also fumbled once. And Malik Washington for Northwestern, 8 receptions, 97 yards for him. Defensive player of the game, not sure who to go with. I'm going to go with Cameron Mitchell, though, the defensive back for Northwestern. 6 tackles, 2 of them solos, 2 pass deflections, and a pick. There were confounding things on ESPN's stat sheet that could have made Xander Mueller the defensive player of the game, but I didn't believe, and I still don't believe that the stats are correct on ESPN because it shows 2 sacks total for Northwestern's defense, but for some reason it shows Xander Mueller with 5 sacks in the game. There's another game that a guy had 6 sacks it shows, but that's not how many the team had. So I don't know what ESPN stats are doing right now, but yeah. Northwestern covered easily plus 12. They won over 52. UNLV spanking Idaho State 52-21 at Allegiant Stadium. Each team, the Rebels played 3 quarterbacks on the day. The Bengals played 2. And Doug Brumfeld, what a day. 84% completion, 356, 4 touchdowns, 4 carries for 10 yards, no turnovers. It's a pretty good day. Hunter Hayes, though, not the singer, the quarterback. Hunter Hayes did come in for Idaho State in place of Tyler Vanderwall. Hayes had a good day, did score 2 times, throwing once. And yeah, I turned this game off, I think, to watch the Charlotte FAU game, which ended up being the same type of game. So it wasn't that great. But running back Aiden Robbins for UNLV, 10 carries, 35 yards. He scored 3 times actually. 2 rushing touchdowns and 1 7-yard receiving touchdown. Ricky White for the Rebels, 8 receptions, 182 yards, and 2 touchdowns there. Not much going defensively, but my defensive player of the game is Idaho State's defensive lineman Tyler Gonzalez. 7 tackles, 5 of them solos, a sack, tackle for loss. That was another thing. This game, in terms of defensive stats, ESPN didn't have like those 3 players were some of the only players on the team that they list as defensive stats. So I don't. You have anything on this game though, Mark?
Nah, it was they finished them off early and often.
Yeah, I believe it was 45-7 at halftime.
Yeah.
UNLV covered minus 22.5 over 51 by themselves. Utah State. Oh, what could have been for Jim Mora's debut at Utah State.
Yeah.
On the road at Utah State. Utah State 31-20 over UConn. Logan Bonner saved the day for the Aggies. 69% completion, 281, 3 touchdowns. Taquan Roberson was the starter, I believe. I didn't have the sound on for that game. We had the sound on for a different game. But Taquan Roberson was a starter, Penn State transfer. Remember him last year at PSU. Zion Turner, though, came in, did a nice job, under 40% completion, but still 109 yards. He did throw a touchdown. Unfortunately for him, he threw 2 picks. I just didn't understand what Jim Mora was doing, right? Because they were up 14-0, and I live bet them. At 14-0, right? I got them at plus 225 still. That's how much of an underdog they were to Utah State on the road. But I didn't understand the need for Jim Mora to go away from what they had been doing and why they had been dominating. It was Nathan Carter for the Huskies was completely controlling the game. 20 carries, 190 yards. That's 9.5 per carry. And a reception for 10 yards. But that one space FUM on his score sheet was the difference in the game. That fumble that Utah State recovered completely turned the momentum around. Utah State scored 24 unanswered points, 24 points in a row, made it 24-14. And then eventually it was 31-4. Actually, no, they scored 31 in a row, I think. No, yeah, 24. Right. And then UConn got a couple field goals in the fourth quarter. I was feeling good. I was like, bro, we need one more stop, go down the field, score another touchdown, and we win. But Logan Bonner added on, made it an 11-point game with 6 minutes to go. Huskies couldn't do anything after that.
UConn looked a lot more competitive than they have in many years. I mean, that's got to be a testament to Jim Mora and what he's capable. But, I mean, I agree with you. The fumble was the momentum changer, and then, the switching of the quarterbacks led to just Utah State taking off.
Yeah. Calvin Tyler Jr. for Utah State. He also had a very good game on the ground. 33 carries, 161 yards. He did too have a fumble though. 2 receptions, 33 yards. And not much to talk about receiving wise. Bunch of guys scoring touchdowns there. UConn doesn't have many receiving stats because their quarterbacks didn't throw for that much. And defensively, the guy is linebacker Jackson Mitchell for UConn. 16 tackles, 7 of them solo, and a sack. 3 guys on the Husky defense having double-digit tackles in the game. UConn did cover, though, plus 24 easily. Under 59.5 hit. And yeah, I think this is what we're gonna see out of UConn this year. More is gonna get them up to play every week.
Yeah.
Illinois crushing Wyoming in Champaign, 38-6. Yeah, we went down with the ship, Mark. Very quickly, we went down with the ship.
Well, you got to try to pick some upsets, or it gets boring.
Tommy DeVito in his first start, transferring from Syracuse. Great game, 73%, 194 yards, 2 touchdowns. Andrew Peasley, on the other hand, his first start as well, transferring from Utah State. Did not go so well. Wyoming literally could not throw the ball at all. 25% completion, 30 yards, and a pick. And again, just like UConn, I didn't understand why Wyoming went away. Obviously, the game started getting away from them, so they had to throw the ball. But early on, when it's not that far away, do what is working. Andrew Peasley running the ball, 8 carries, 76 yards. That's what was working for them. Titus Swen, 17 carries, 98 yards. The running game was working. Just keep doing it. Mix in some throws every once in a while. Some short ones that work and that are easy completions, scheme guys open, right? And then, run the ball. So yeah, it's the same thing as UConn. I just didn't understand, if something's working, don't change it, right?
You got to make them stop it before you change.
Yeah, it just didn't make sense. Chase Brown, I knew he was going to be good again this year, coming off a 1,000-yard season last year for the Illini. 19 carries, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also had 3 receptions for 16 yards and a diving receiving touchdown there. Already touched on Swen for the Cowboys. Not much to talk about in the receiving game. Neither quarterback. DeVito was good, but he only threw for 194 yards. And then defensively, my guy is Illinois defensive back Jartavius Martin. 7 tackles, 5 of them solos, and 3 pass deflections. Illinois covered -14, over 43 hit. Yeah, the plus 14 for Wyoming was one of the other bets that didn't win, as well as Wyoming money line at plus 420. Florida State having a nice sunny day there. It actually wasn't. It was raining in Florida on Saturday, but 47-7, nice warm up game for the Seminoles. Jordan Travis had a nice preseason game, 11 of 15, 207 yards, 4 carries, 11 yards. He only scored 1 touchdown though. The passing game was not what was winning the game and what was dominating for Florida State. It was the running game. They, for the first time ever in FSU history, and as we know, FSU is a storied college program, right?
Oh yeah.
For the first time ever, they had 3 100-yard backs in a game. Trayshawn Ward, 14 carries, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. Trey Benson, 11 carries, 105 yards and a touchdown. And then Lawrence Toafili, 13 carries, 101 yards and a touchdown. They scored 6 rushing touchdowns to go along with, I believe, over 400 rushing yards, I believe. And unfortunately for my PA school, Duquesne, was not a great day. Yeah, 54 carries, 406 yards, 6 touchdowns for the Seminole rushing attack, 7.5 yards per carry. The big mismatch. Everyone knew this was how this game was going to go, but
Yeah, no question about it. One team a lot more talented, a lot more history, very lopsided.
Yeah. Defensively, I guess I'm going to go with the bottom guy there, defensive lineman Jared Verse for for Florida State. 4 tackles, 1 solo, 1 sack, and 1.5 tackles for loss. Yeah, it's interesting. Florida State has or Duquesne has a running back named DeMarcus Ware. Same name, obviously, as former All-Pro outside linebacker, Cowboys, Broncos.
Turned podcast guru, TV guy now.
Duquesne did cover though. They did cover for those that could bet this game. Plus 42. Yeah, they did get it. That one score changed everything for the bettors. Under 57. Duquesne didn't do enough for them. The over bettors though. Yeah, this one. This one was not pretty. FAU 43-13 over Charlotte. I had very high hopes for Charlotte. I picked Charlotte to finish 4th in Conference USA this year. And in terms of this game, they don't look like they're finishing 4th.
FAU took care of business for sure.
Yeah, Nkosi Perry had a nice day, 72.7% completion, 256, a touchdown. Also ran one in. Yeah, I don't know really where it got away from Charlotte. I was kind of watching this game, but I was more focused on the Illinois-Wyoming game. But yeah, Chris Reynolds, I mean, when you look at his stats, they weren't bad. Now, he did go out. He got hurt mid-game. James Foster had to come in. James Foster was absolutely terrible. He threw a pick. And I don't know what happened, though, other than FAU just played well. And by the way, that pick that Foster threw was a pick 6. But yeah, Craig Reynolds, though, 73.7%, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. So, yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, FAU, Laramie McCammon, 14 carries, 118 yards, and a touchdown, 2 catches, 16 yards. Willie Taggart Jr. even made an appearance in this game for FAU, going 1 of 3. 8 yards, 3 carries, 26 yards for the Owls. And then a guy I did highlight Grant DuBose, a returning good wide receiver there, 4 catches, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns for the Niners. And yeah, my defensive player of the game, corner Justin McKithen for FAU, 3 tackles, 2 of them solo, 63-yard pick 6.
You know, a lot of games you watch, you're like, these stats don't add up to the score or the differential. And the one thing was just, you've heard me say it before, is it's a field position game. And FAU they were able to push. Their offensive line was able to push defensive line around and just started off, in better field position, in my opinion. It turned up the score being the way it is.
Yeah. FAU covered easily -7, under 60 hit though. 4 points off of 60. This one was fun. I was watching this one up to halftime, and then I had to go work, but I was listening to the rest of it.
All I'm going to say is, for all you bettors out there, App State should be a pretty sexy pick this weekend.
I agree.
Because UNC had great, he accounted for, their quarterback accounted for a lot of the scoring, but everybody knows that there was 25 ineligible players, 27 for Florida A&M.
At 20. Yeah, UNC 56, FAMU, Florida A&M 24. And this one was close. It was 35-24 at one point. Or 35.
Third quarter. Yeah, the third quarter was the biggest difference.
Yeah, 35-24 after the third quarter. Fourth quarter, UNC scored three times. Nothing.
Yeah,
but Drake May, what a debut for the young redshirt freshman. 70.4%, 294, 5 touchdowns, 4 carries, 55 yards. And that 55 yards was key because we were watching the game here, and the first drive did not look very good. He was jittery. It's his first start. And I said, I was like, maybe the freshman isn't it. And then he had a 43-yard run on the second drive. Completely changed everything. He got momentum, confidence in his arm, and was just slinging it after that. FAMU did not have much to stop the UNC defense all night. But for FAMU, though, Jeremy Musa had a great night as well. I mean, 73.7%. 279, 2 touchdowns, did throw the 1 interception right before halftime that cost Florida A&M a score. But yeah, I was very impressed with Florida A&M. And I told everyone, I told y'all, I didn't know before the show on Friday or before the show on Friday that Florida A&M didn't have 20 guys. But it didn't matter. They had good coaching, and they turned out a great product against a Power 5 team. So
I think App State has a legit shot. And, we're on our third quarterback that looks really good coming out of UNC. Yeah. I mean, it's a small sample size, but the kid certainly has talent.
Yeah, I don't know if May was the guy, or no, I guess Sam Howell was the highest recruit for Mac Brown, right? Yeah. Running back Omarion Hampton for the Tar Heels, 14 carries, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. Good game for him. That was the only thing. The Rattlers really couldn't run the ball very much. They weren't good on the ground. But Josh Downs, I tried to highlight him for this game as well, not knowing who was going to play quarterback, but I knew Downs was going to be there still. He put in a great performance, 9 catches, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. Xavier Smith on the other side also matched his yardage on 1 more reception, 10 catches, 78 yards. Defensively, I'm going to go with linebacker Power Eccles for UNC. 10 tackles, 9 of them solo, a sack, 2 tackles for loss. FAMU covered easily. Plus 45. I told y'all. I tried to tell y'all. Take the 45 points for with the Rattlers. Over 56.5. Easy money. Cash it. Nevada, 23-12. Struggle at New Mexico State.
What a boring game.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch this one because I was working, but I kept seeing scores, and it started out. It was going great for the Aggies, 2-0. We got a safety early.
I love safeties.
Then Nevada. I didn't even know Shane Illingworth. There's supposed to be a G in there. Shane Illingworth transfers from Oklahoma State to Nevada. Decent game for him, 51 yards, 58.3%. Nate Cox, though, came in and had a good day. Not very many yards passing, 63.6%, though, efficient. 27 yards, 5 carries, 33 yards. And, yeah, it was a tale of two quarterbacks for the Aggies, though. Not getting much from Diego Pavia, 45% completion, 75 yards. 4 turnovers, 3 of them picks. He also fumbled once, 5 carries, 32 yards. Gavin Frakes had a good day, though, 69.2%, 143 yards. Touchdown. He also, however, did throw a pick, 2 carries, 15 yards for him. So, yeah, I don't even know who the quarterback's going to be for Nevada now because both had similar stats. I don't even know who started the game. I don't know if you know, Mark.
I do not.
Okay. But yeah, Nate Cox was the incumbent because I knew he was on the team. He played sparingly last year, filling in for Carson Strong. Shane Illingworth, like I said, coming over from Oklahoma State. I remember him there. But the guy is Toa. That's your heart and soul of this team right now. He's the leading producer from last year, receiving, running wise. Knew he was going to be good, and he was again. 19 carries, 109 yards. Also put in 3 catches for 4 yards there. Devontae Lee, he scored twice, 13 carries, 61 yards. The leading receiver in the game, New Mexico State, Justice Powers. 2 catches, 74 yards there. And defensive player of the game has to go to corner Isaiah Esistema for Nevada. 2 tackles, both of them solos, and he had 2 of the 4 interceptions on the night for the Wolfpack defense. Nevada covered, -7, under 48. UNT getting the win 31-13 over UTEP. Look, I said I was excited for these 2 Conference USA games, FAU Charlotte and UTEP UNT. Both of them did not go how I thought they were going to go. I was on the wrong side of both games, and both of them ended up being blowouts. Gavin Hardison, while his completion percentage was not great, sub 44%. He did have 293 yards, did throw a touchdown, and he carried it 10 times for 29 yards. However, he fumbled there. Austin Allen was fantastic, 55.2%, 236. He threw 3 touchdowns, also ran it 3 times for 15 yards. And again, I wasn't able to watch this one. For one, I wouldn't have even been able to watch it had I been home because it wasn't on a network. You had to find an illegal stream to get it. So,
yeah, I didn't watch it, but I was surprised by the score for sure.
Yeah, Ronald Watt, I was disappointed. 10 carries, 36 yards. He was their leading rusher. 1 reception for 1 yard. I just thought that the Miners would be a lot better than UNT. While both quarterbacks were returning, I just thought UTEP had better production returning at the skill positions. And when you look, Tyron Smith for UTEP, 7 receptions, 127 yards, and a touchdown. And I don't know why he's classified as a running back for UTEP, but he did have a 100-yard game as well. Reynaldo Flores, 8 receptions, 122 yards. So he didn't have any rushing stats, so that's why I was surprised he was classified as a running back. But yeah, defensively, I'm going to go with defensive back Deshaun Gaddy for the Mean Green. 5 tackles, 4 solos, 2 pass deflections. UNT easily -1. They covered under 52.5. And finally, for college, no one thought this was how this game was going to go. Right?
Oh, dude. My gosh.
I mean, Vanderbilt 63-10. They got a new logo. They got a new offense apparently because yeah, it was bad. I was listening to this game and it got to 35-10 and I was like, I'm done. I turned it off because I was like, I can't listen to this anymore. I had Hawaii plus 9.5. Yes, I will own up to it. I had Hawaii plus 9.5, like everyone had Hawaii plus 9.5. Because Timmy Chang was supposed to reinvent this Rainbow Warrior offense, and it didn't happen. Now they did get a spark when Joe Yellen came in a little bit, the freshman, but yeah, it was not pretty at all. Vanderbilt ran for over 400 yards on the night, and Hawaii defensively, they could not stop the wide runs. Outside, the tackles was just killing them all night. As far as how it sounded on the radio, yeah, 44 carries, 404 yards, 5 touchdowns. They averaged 9.2 yards per carry. And a big portion of that was the quarterback run. Mike Wright, 13 of 21, 146, 2 touchdowns. But more importantly, 13 carries, 163 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground.
Yeah, he had a big game, big day. I mean, this is Vandy's first win since October of 2021. They lost 7 straight last season. And they haven't scored this many points since 1969. So, I mean, I was texting you leading up to the game thinking, Vandy's got to go all the way out there. Like, you think Hawaii can win this? And I did not see it playing out like this.
Yeah, one of the issues with Hawaii is that they don't have a home field advantage. Yes, like you said, you got to go all the way out
the time zones, I guess, but that's it.
But yeah, when I was listening to the game, they were like, yeah, they're going to have about 9,300 fans tonight. I was like, what do you mean they're going to have 9,300 fans? 9,300 fans, you might as well be going to a D2 game at that point. But yeah. Raymond
we had some picks that backfired.
Yeah, Raymond Davis, 9 carries, 87 yards, touchdown. Dedrick Parson for Hawaii, 13 carries, 82 yards, touchdown. He fumbled twice. Detrimental fumbles. I believe both of Parsons' fumbles were returned for touchdowns. Rocco Griffin scored for the Commodores. Cooper Lutz did as well. One bright spot for Hawaii, Jano Pinoki, 7 receptions, 101 yards. Good game for him. Will Shepard for Vandy, wide receiver, 3 catches, 39 yards. He scored twice. And then defensively, it's a tie for my defensive player of the game. 2 linebackers for Vandy had the 2 touchdowns. Anthony Orji, 3 tackles, 2 solos, and a 28-yard fumble return touchdown. And linebacker CJ Taylor, 2 tackles, both of them solos, and a 14-yard fumble return touchdown. So yeah, Vandy, they got Elon next. So we'll see.
See if the streak of high scoring continues.
We'll see what the Phoenix do at Vanderbilt. I'm picking them. I'm picking Elon.
No.
Vandy covered easily, -9. over 54.5 by themselves. All right, NFL preseason week 3, Panthers with the shutout, 21-0. After the Bills' big day in Denver last week, or against the Broncos. I don't remember if they were at home last week or not, but this one was in Carolina. 21-0. Good day for the Panthers. PJ Walker, 8 of 10, 50 yards. Unfortunately, though, PJ is going to have to stick on the roster because Sam Darnold went down 5 of 11, 49 yards. Did have a Sam Darnold rushing touchdown was very impressive. I do say so. Stiff armed the defensive back, and I did not see that coming from Sam. But good rushing touchdown for him before he went out with injury. Baker Mayfield was fantastic. Baker Mayfield, that is exactly what you want the regular season offense to look like. 9 of 15, 60%, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns on, I believe, 3 drives.
Yeah, I hope Mayfield works out. You know, we're a Panther. My wife being from North Carolina, Panther fans, and I love his commercials. I hope that somebody in Charlotte gets him as a sponsor, and we get to see some commercials, and he plays good football.
Oh, bro, he's got to bring Christian McCaffrey on the State Farm commercials.
Yes.
But yeah, Raheem Blackshear, who had a great preseason, rookie from Virginia Tech, undrafted this year, 13 carries, 47 yards, 2 catches, 12 yards there. Unfortunately for him, he got cut. I saw in the final roster cut downs. It is Black Tuesday for anyone that didn't know. Roster cut down day, the big one. 27 players from each team getting cut today. So lot of jobs lost. A lot of jobs will be available though. 16 practice squad spots for each team. So a lot of roster manipulation to be handed out here by tomorrow. My guy John Lovett, I don't know if he got cut or not. Undrafted rookie out of Penn State, 14 carries, 35 yards, 4 catches, 36 yards. Deontay Foreman scored. And then defensively, actually, before I talk about defense, Shi Smith has had a great preseason. 3 catches, 32 yards, touchdown. He is actually, people are putting him in line to be the number 3. So behind DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, they also acquired a receiver yesterday, which we'll talk about. But defensively, I'm going with Austin Larkin, defensive end for the Panthers. 4 tackles, 3 of them solos, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a QB hit. Cowboys, I got to squint for this one because very small font. There was just too many defensive performances to leave out on this one. And it doesn't help as well when there's 6 quarterbacks that played in this game. But Cowboys 27-26 over the Seahawks. Drew Lock looked absolutely terrible. Hence, Geno Smith getting the start. Week 1 against the Broncos. 54.2%, 171 yards, a touchdown. They threw 3 interceptions. I mean, that's not going to get you a starting job. So, Will Grier has played nicely this preseason, 54.5%, 88 yards, 2 touchdowns there, 5 carries, 26 yards. And the Cowboys, interestingly, they, in their final roster cut down, they cut every quarterback. They cut Grier, DiNucci, and Cooper Rush, leaving Dak Prescott as the only quarterback on the roster. They'll bring one of the quarterbacks back, obviously, and probably 2 of them, one on the practice squad as well. They just needed the extra roster space to probably put someone on IR. DJ Dallas, leading rusher in this game, 13 carries, 75 yards, a touchdown, 2 catches, 9 yards. Derek Young has had a nice preseason as well. Rookie 7th rounder out of Lenore-Rhine. Good for him. 3 catches, 43 yards on 5 targets. One of my favorite guys from the Big Ten, Unfortunately, he's with the Cowboys, though. Tight end Peyton Hendershot, 3 receptions, 39 yards and a touchdown on 7 targets. That was the game-winning touchdown, I believe, for Hendershot. And defensively, like I said, there were a lot of good defensive performances in this game. I'm going to go with Cowboys corner Nashawn Wright, 6 tackles, 3 of them solos, 3 pass deflections, and a pick. Saints 27-10 over the Chargers. Chase Daniel was lights out, even in a loss. 10 of 11, 90.9%, 113 yards. That was Daniel's day there. But the Saints quarterbacks, I mean, they were great. Ian Book unfortunately got cut today. They're going to bring him back on the practice squad, but still 73.3%, 81 yards, a touchdown. And what Ian Book has done very well this preseason is run the ball. He had 7 carries for 50 yards. And then all the other 2 quarterbacks for the Saints did combined to go 9 for 9 and 132 yards. Same exact passer rating for Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston. Dalton 5 of 5, 73 yards. Winston 4 of 4, 59 yards. I'm excited for Jameis this year. Even though the Panthers are in the same division, I'm telling you, the Saints are going to be a force that not many people are talking about.
Well, they're just always consistent. They're going to have good game plans. Alvin Kamara can reel off as many yards, and whether it's in space running or catching. And Jameis Winston he's shown to be have success in this league. And so, I mean, I think that division, I think it's one of the more intriguing divisions because, you never know if Father Time's going to catch up with the GOAT. You don't know if the Panthers are going to turn a corner and I don't look at Atlanta as having a chance to win the division, but I mean, you just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen injury wise. And I think, the funny thing about this, the last 2 teams we've talked about, in my opinion, we know Chase Daniels is a backup quarterback, guru that's made money, but does a team have a need for Andy Dalton, and can they pull off a trade if Jameis Winston is healthy and playing great? Does Will Grier have a decent preseason and find, is there a team that needs to just try another quarterback? Because I don't know if Seattle has the answers on their roster.
Yeah, it didn't help Seattle when the Niners agreed on a restructured deal for Jimmy G yesterday either.
Yeah, I mean, could Andy Dalton – could they try to trade with the Saints to get him? I don't know.
No. No, the Saints can't afford to lose Andy Dalton right now. Not with Jameis being in his first year back from the ACL. Ian Book, they haven't seen enough progress to keep him on the roster yet. Practice squad though for Book. Abram Smith is another guy. He got cut, I believe, today. I thought he had a really good preseason for the Saints. Undrafted rookie out of Baylor. 13 carries, 35 yards, a reception for 16 yards. And then defensively, I'm going to go with Cole Christensen for the Chargers. Linebacker, 9 tackles, 6 of them solo, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a QB hit. Raiders, undefeated preseason for Josh McDaniels in his first year as the coach. 23-6. Raiders go 4-0. Garbers had an okay game for the Raiders, but you know who I want to talk about. I want to talk about Bailey Zappi.
Bailey Zappi!
10 of 14, 71.4%, 84 yards. Did throw an interception, but I believe Bailey Zappi has earned his spot on the Patriots roster. And I know that Bill probably won't give Bailey Zappi the keys to the backup job just yet because he loves Brian Hoyer, who also had a good game, 6-7, 47 yards. But I'm telling you, man, I think Bailey Zappi made up for people thinking that he probably went too high in the 4th round.
Hey, we've both been high on him since his time.
Since
in
he was at
college.
Houston Baptist.
Yeah. 100% true on that one. And I mean, for me, he time and time again, he shows that he can sling it.
Yeah, and he doesn't have the biggest
my
arm.
thing is consistent, consistency.
Yeah, he's just been very accurate this postseason. And like I said, he doesn't have the biggest arm, but accuracy, I mean, we saw it. Drew Brees didn't have the biggest arm, right? But Drew Brees is the most accurate quarterback in NFL history. So I'm not saying Zappi's Drew Brees, but I'm saying that's the comparison that I think.
You heard it first. You heard it first here.
Kevin Harris, another rookie draft pick for the Patriots, who I don't think made the roster. 4 carries, 54 yards. This was the first game I really noticed him. He did fumble, however, that will get you cut quickly when you're in a Belichick team. 1 reception for 7 yards. And the 2 rookie running backs for Vegas, Britton Brown is a guy that I have been very impressed by. Knew him when he played at UCLA, but yeah, 11 carries, 28 yards, not great. But he scored a touchdown, 3 carries, 3 receptions, 23 yards. So showing the dual threat purpose there. And our guy, Zeus, I mean, the only game he really looked very good was the Hall of Fame game where he actually had a good average. He hasn't had a good average in the subsequent 3 games. 5 carries, 17 yards in this one, 3.4 yards per carry. But what has he done? He's a goal line monster. He scored 4 touchdowns, I believe, this preseason. I mean, that's all he does is score. And we saw why the Raiders cut Kenyon Drake now, because Zamir White and Britton Brown have shown that they can get the job done on a much cheaper salary.
Yeah, I mean, gotta love Zeus. I think he's from a school that you and I might know
about. Keelan Cole had a good day for the Raiders. 3 catches, 48 yards on 5 targets. And then defensively, I'm going to go with defensive end to Sean Bauer for the Raiders. 5 tackles, all of them solos, 2 sacks, tackle for loss, and QB hit. Yeah, Dolphins absolutely shredded the Eagles, 48-10. This is a Sunday slate here. Or Saturday slate. The first 4 were Friday. Saturday slate here for NFL preseason. Yeah, the Eagles are going to be a team that's going to be scouring the waiver wire and the cuts, making sure they don't miss anyone in those, because I have been very disappointed by the backup defenders for the Eagles. 2nd and 3rd team defenders have just been obliterated. They lost the game against the Jets week 1 of preseason because the 3rd team defense just completely gave up everything, yards, and then they gave up the game-winning score, and saw it in here. The Dolphins play their starters, so you got to take that into account. Tua was playing against backups. As much as I love Tua and believe in Tua, slow your roll. They were playing against backups. But yeah, great day for Tua though. 6 of 7, 121 touchdown. Had a great 51-yard throw to Tyreek Hill, who ended up 2 catches, 64 yards in his Dolphins preseason debut there. And then Skylar Thompson, dude, he's another guy. He's going to get cut, I believe, because they're going to keep Teddy Bridgewater and Tua. I don't think he'll keep free. 3 QBs in Miami on the active. But Skylar Thompson is a guy who I have been impressed by every single week. 7th round pick out of Kansas State, 7 of 10, 103 yards, 3 touchdowns. Doesn't get much better than that. Jason Huntley for the Eagles, running back. He had 11 carries, 93 yards and a touchdown, 4 catches, 22 yards on 6 targets there. Most of his yards came on a 67-yard touchdown run. Sonny Michel scored, but he got cut today. And
sucks.
Lynn Bowden scored. He got cut. And then defensively, I have to go with safety Elijah Campbell for the Dolphins. He had 1 tackle, and it was a solo tackle, and we got a 30-yard pick 6 off of Reed Sinnett, who I don't know why he kept playing Sinnett over Carson Strong. Many Eagles fans were with me, and they didn't understand. They really we wanted to see Carson Strong. We could care less about Reed Sinnett. Sorry, Reed. You looked terrible in this game. And we really never – Carson Strong got cut by the Eagles today. We really never saw him be given a chance to actually show his arm. Falcons 28-12 over the Jags. EJ Perry, Desmond Ridder both playing the entire game. One of the rare scenarios where a quarterback plays the entire game in preseason. But, yeah, Perry had 2 picks for the Jags. Desmond Ridder has looked pretty decent. Did have the same touchdown interceptions as Perry, though. 1 touchdown thrown, 2 picks thrown. But it's safe to say Desmond Ridder is going to start the backup this year behind Mariota, who, when you were talking about the Falcons not being much of a factor, I was impressed by Mariota this preseason.
Well, I don't think they'll have a problem offensively versus I don't know if they're going to be able to stop them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, considering, we haven't seen Mariota start a game in a couple of years. So,
yeah, I mean, he's got some experience and, he can move around, and you got Kyle Pitts is a freak.
Yeah, as well as the rookie Drake London, too. Brought in Brian Edwards. And a rookie I like out of the backfield who's on this here, Tyler Algier. He scored twice in this game. 8 carries, 26 yards, and a touchdown. Also had a 2-yard touchdown reception. Caleb Huntley was very good for Atlanta in this game. 19 carries, 86 yards, and a touchdown. And then Tim Jones. Tim Jones, the guy, I'd have to check if he got cut or not, but he was on fighting for a position down at the bottom of the Jags receiver depth chart there. He's had a great preseason as well. 3 catches, 103 yards on 3 targets. Defensively, I think I'm going to go at the bottom. My guy, linebacker Nate Landman for the Falcons. Rookie, undrafted out of Colorado. I liked Landman at Colorado there. 4 tackles, 3 solos, a sack, a pass deflection, a quarterback hit, and a pick. Bengals 16-7 over the Rams. Jake Browning. Nice day, Mr. Browning. 19-24, 173 yards, touchdown, 1 carry for 12 yards there. Bryce Perkins, he's a guy that continues to start whole games for the Rams in the preseason. Pretty decent, 14-19, 143, 8 carries, 33 yards, and a touchdown. Not much to speak about in the running game there. Trenton Irwin for the Bengals, 9 receptions, 90 yards on 10 targets. And then the guy that everyone in LA is talking about this preseason, rookie out of Montana State, Lance McCutcheon, wide receiver, 5 receptions, 6 yards, and 8 targets, man. He's got to make the roster, dude.
He's been the talk of the town. Besides Matthew Stafford's elbow and Aaron Donald's clanging of some helmets.
And defensively, I'm going to go with Rams linebacker Kair Thomas, 3 tackles, all of them solos, a sack, 3 tackles for loss, and a QB hit. Bears beat the Browns 21-20. Yeah, everyone's raving about Justin Fields in this game. I'm not. He hasn't proven anything to me yet. One preseason game doesn't prove anything to me. 14-16 though, 87.5%, 156 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 carries, 11 yards, no turnovers. Big key for Justin Fields.
Well, I mean, we know that he has some type of football skills compared to the rest of America. But the question is, what is the turnover? What is it like when he faces a first-team defense? And are you going to build an offense towards his skills? And all those 3 things have to align for somebody to be successful. And like you said, one preseason game does not automatically change all of those things.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a lot to prove in my book, considering I wasn't high on him to begin with, coming out in the draft from Ohio State. But we'll see. Josh Rosen, 4 of 6, 42 yards, 3 carries, 7 yards, and a touchdown there. Yes, 6 quarterbacks in this game as well. Not much in the running game for either team. Isaiah Coulter for the Bears, 3 catches, 61 yards, 3 targets for him. Pettis scored for Chicago. Komet scored. Ryan Griffin scored. And Miller Forrestal scored for the Browns there. Defensively, I'm going to go with corner Sean Jolly for the Browns. 6 tackles, 5 of them solos, a sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a QB hit. Titans 26-23 win over the Cards. Yeah, my guy Trace McSorley kind of took a step back here in this game. 15-29, 144 yards, no touchdowns. Jarek Garantano did throw one, but he was 7 of 14, 141. Big game for Malik Willis. Not in terms of stats necessarily, but 65.2%, 131 yards, 1 touchdown. He threw a pick. And then great running game for him, 4 carries, 79 yards. That's what he has to lean on right now and where he's at in his development. He has to lean on the fact that he is a great dual threat and can run the ball effectively until his mental processing of defenses and his, timing with his arm to his receivers develops more. Keontae Ingram for the Cardinals. Good game for him. 16 carries, 61 yards. Also added a reception for 8 yards. My guy out of Sacred Heart, Julius Chestnut, rookie for the Titans. 9 carries, 27 yards, and a touchdown. And then Andy Isabella. What a game for him. 5 catches, 115 yards, 8 targets for Andy there. Traylon Burks, rookie first-round pick for the Titans. I don't know, has he even been playing the whole preseason? Because this is the first time he's been on our stat sheet, and I haven't really noticed him. I haven't heard much about him otherwise this preseason. So 3 catches, 33 yards, and a touchdown on 3 targets in the game for Burks. And my defensive player of the game for this one, rookie, a guy I loved coming out of the draft. He's now playing linebacker as opposed to defensive end because the Cardinals run a 3-4. But Cameron Thomas, rookie out of San Diego State, 4 tackles, 3 solos, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, and 4 QB hits. Ravens, all they do is win in the preseason. 17-15 over the Commanders. I thought Washington, this is the second one in a row, though. Teams are getting close. The Cardinals almost got them last week. The Commanders almost got them. I thought, I saw the Commanders were getting the ball back down 17-15 with about 2 minutes to go, I think. Sam Howell, I was like, bro, this is your chance, Rook. This is your chance to do it. You have a chance to prove that you could be the guy in the future. Did not get it done. I believe it was like 4 incompletions or something like that. But yeah, Sam Howell did have a nice day, though, otherwise. 24 of 23, 68.6%, 280 yards, 1 touchdown, 8 carries, 62 yards for him. Anthony Brown has continued to impress as well this preseason, 78.9% completion, 256 yards, a touchdown, 3 carries, 8 yards, and a touchdown as well. Jarrett Patterson, good day for him, running and receiving, 11 carries, 47 yards, 4 receptions, 45 yards for him. Baltimore couldn't run the ball at all. Tyler Beatty, the rookie out of Missouri, was the leading rusher for them. 5 carries, 12 yards. Also had 1 reception for 0 yards there. Demarcus Robinson, though, the new addition for the Ravens. Great game in his first one as a Raven. 4 receptions, 135 yards, a touchdown, and 6 targets for him. Defensive player of the game, linebacker Christian Welch for the Ravens. 10 tackles, 5 solos, 2.5 sacks, a tackle for loss, and 3 quarterback hits. Colts beat the Bucks 27-10. Kyle Trask looked good for the first time. 7-10, 94 yards. Good game for Trask there. Ellinger looked great as well. 5 of 7, 65 yards, 1 45-yard rushing touchdown. Matty Ice was good. 5 of 7, 59 yards, 1 carry, 11 yards. I watched that run and I was like, dang, did not know Ryan could run that far anymore. Gabbert was also 5 of 7. It was just an efficient passing day overall for both teams. 46 yards. Tom Brady, his first preseason game this year, 6 of 8, 44 yards. Nick Foles, 3 of 5, 24 yards, and Jack Cohn, 2 of 3, 8 yards there. Keyshawn Vaughn scored for the Bucks. Phillip Lindsay scored for the Colts. He got cut, however, today. And defensively, my defensive player of the game here, defensive end Ben Banigou for the Colts. 5 tackles, all of them solos, a sack, 3 tackles for loss, and a QB hit. Broncos Vikings. I didn't have stats for this game. ESPN had not put them on when I was filling this out. We'll see if they have them now, and I can tell you. But they don't. I don't know what the issue is with ESPN stats. They do not have stats for this game. So Broncos 23-10 13 win over the Vikings, though. Baron Browning had a 17-yard fumble return touchdown that helped the Broncos because there was only they only scored 1 other touchdown. Montreal Washington 11-yard run. And then Bryant Koback for the Vikings 1-yard touchdown run as well. Otherwise, it was McManus field goals and a couple of Greg Joseph field goals as well for the scoring in that game. The Snoopy Bowl on Sunday. Jets getting the win. Perfect preseason for them. 31-27 over the Giants. Davis Webb continues to be great in the preseason. 30 of 38, 78.9%, 202 yards, a touchdown. 4 carries, 13 yards. Mike White was very good in this game. 13 of 17, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns. Chris Streveler was great. 10 of 13, 96 yards, 2 touchdowns. Had a carry for 7 yards. Flacco didn't look that great, though. 7 of 12, 76 yards, and a pick. Tyrell Taylor went out with an injury, but he went 2 of 4, 29 yards, and a pick 6. 1 carry, 13 yards here. Flacco's pick was a pick 6, which we'll talk about. Jayshawn Corbin, good day for him. Not so good on the ground, but receiving wise, 6 carries, 23 yards, 3.8 average, and a touchdown. And then 5 receptions, 33 yards on 5 targets. Denzel Mims had a great day in his probably last game as a Jet. 7 receptions, 102 yards, and a touchdown on 8 targets there. And defensively, how can you not go with linebacker Austin Calitro for the Giants? 5 tackles, 2 solos, a tackle for loss, pass deflection, and a 35-yard pick six. And the final game of preseason week 3, Steelers getting the win 19-9 over the Lions. Perfect preseason for Pittsburgh. Say that 3 times fast. Love alliteration there. Triple P. Perfect preseason for Pittsburgh. David Blau, none of the quarterbacks were very good, but Blau led the way, 17 of 32, 160 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 carries, 11 yards. Mitch Trubisky, though, did look good. He made a case for the starting job, 15 of 19, 78.9%, 160 yards and a touchdown. And Kenny Pickett, again, efficient, 10 of 14, that's 71.4%, 90 yards. Tim Boyle did not look good. Mason Rudolph did not look good either. Rudolph going 0 for 3. Pat Freiermuth, 3 receptions, 45 yards on 4 targets, led the way receiving in the game. And defensively, I'm going to go with safety Minka Fitzpatrick for the Steelers. 4 tackles, 3 of them solos, a sack, tackle for loss, pass deflection, and a QB hit. Now, we did have some trades, some big ones. This one is one I have on here for you. Wide receiver Laviska Shenault Jr. going from Jacksonville to the Panthers. The trade compensation for that, I don't think we have heard. Yes, it is a 2023 7th and a 2024 6th going back to Jacksonville for Laviska Shenault there. The Panthers also involved in another trade. They traded offensive lineman Dennis Daly and a 2024 7th to the Titans for a 2024 5th. And then we had a bunch of other trades here. The Eagles made a splash today, right? They traded for Saints safety CJ Gardner-Johnson, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, whatever you want to call him. He's been called both throughout his career. The compensation for that, the Eagles get CJ Gardner-Johnson and a 2025 7th for a 2023 5th, and they have 2 6ths in 2024. The Saints will get the worst of those 2 picks. Great trade, I think, for Philly. Needed safety help. They released Anthony Harris in a corresponding move. I just think it's going to elevate their safety play. Jonathan Gannon, that's what he's known for as a defensive coach, is the secondary. So I'm very excited about that trade there. The Bucks also made a trade. They sent linebacker Grant Stewart to the Colts with a 2023 7th for a 2023 6th. So that's all the trades I have for today. But other NFL news here. The 49ers, already talked about it. They restructured quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo's contract, so he stays in San Fran for this year. Intriguing details of the restructure. No trade clause, no tag clause. Jimmy G will be free next year. That is a certainty at this point. Lowered his base salary to a fully guaranteed $6.5 million, down from, I believe it was somewhere around $24.6 million. And he also has an additional $10 million that he can make in incentives. So $16.5 million max for Jimmy G. One of the highest paid backups quarterbacks in the league, though. Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph. He has been drawing interest around the league. The Steelers did not trade him, however, at the 4 p.m. Eastern cut deadline today. So he is still on the team, I believe. I have not heard anything. I have not been able to check my Twitter, so I haven't seen if he got cut or not. We will talk about that if he has on Friday. The Seahawks, already mentioned, they named Geno Smith the week 1 starter. Drew Lock to the backup spot once again, like he was in Denver. And the Giants, they have gotten trade inquiries about wide receiver Darius Slayton. So that's an intriguing one to watch. I'll have to see if he got traded or not before the cut deadline. The Bucks, quarterback Tom Brady, he was named number 1 on the NFL's top 100 list for 2022. The GOAT, 4th time he's been named number 1 on those lists. Injuries, we have a bevy of them from preseason week 3. Panthers, I already talked about it. Quarterback Sam Darnold, he has a high ankle sprain. I have not heard any update on that. Generally, high ankle sprains are 2 to 4 week things, depending on what grade of high ankle sprain it is. Saints rookie left tackle Trevor Penning, he has a torn ligament in his foot. He's going to need surgery, out indefinitely. The Saints are now reeling, trying to find their new left tackle. I believe it would be James Hurst would be the next guy up there in New Orleans. Panthers defensive tackle Derek Brown, he has a minor oblique strain. He should be good to go week 1. And yeah, that Panthers game was very, very horrible for them with injuries, with Darnold going down, Derek Brown, and then Panthers kicker Zane Gonzalez. He has a significant groin injury, out longer term. Hate to see that with the last preseason game, especially how he did it. He tripped over the kicking net and somehow hurt his groin. So Panthers have been trying out kickers, and we'll see if they sign one by Friday. Titans rookie wide receiver Traylon Burks, he has a wrist injury. Haven't heard any updates on that. Neither have I heard any updates on what the injury is for Giants quarterback Tyrod Taylor. He was carted off in Sunday's game. Vikings wide receiver BC Johnson, he tore his ACL. He is out for the year. It is his other knee that he tore his ACL last season. It is his other knee, though, this time. Giants rookie tight end Daniel Bellinger, he is in concussion protocol. I believe he should be good week 1. Commanders rookie running back Brian Robinson, scary situation for him. He is stable, has left the hospital. He was shot on Sunday in an attempted armed robbery there. So we're hoping for the best for Brian Robinson there. Hopefully he can get back on the field at some point this season. Interesting note, though, for Washington, Brian Robinson was on the active 53 after they did their cuts, probably because he's going to be put on IR as opposed to reserve PUP. Steelers running back Najee Harris, he has a Liz Frank sprain. Should be good to go week 1, though. However, Coach Tomlin said. Some cuts, we'll have more on the cuts that went down today on Friday's show, but some of the cuts that I have here, the Bills, somewhat unshockingly, they released punter Matt Araiza. He is dealing with that civil lawsuit for alleged actions at San Diego State. So Matt Araiza looking for new employment currently while he deals with his legal issue. The Titans, it was not a good day for punters today or this weekend. The Titans, they released punter Brett Kern. That means rookie Ryan Stonehouse from Colorado State. He has won the punting job in Tennessee. Broncos punter Sam Martin also losing his job. The Jags cutting safety Rudy Ford and wide receiver Laquan Treadwell. Eagles, they waived quarterback Carson Strong, running back Jason Huntley, and safety Jaquiski Tart. Dolphins, they cut running back Sonny Michel. Ravens cut ties with safety Tony Jefferson, and the Lions released linebacker Jared Davis. One signing to note, the Dolphins, they signed Patriots defensive end Trey Flowers to a 1-year, $2.1 million deal. Nice depth addition for Miami there. And then the Panthers, they hosted Jets kicker Eddie Pinheiro for a visit looking for Zane Gonzalez's replacement as he deals with his long-term groin injury. So our last season preview here, the NFC East, newcomers to the division. A lot of new faces here. Head coach Brian Daboll for the Giants there. Wide receiver A.J. Brown for the Eagles. Another 11 there. Former Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz is now with Washington, the Commanders. And down at the right, that is rookie first-round tackle Tyler Smith. So the Giants here, re-signing wise, they didn't have any re-signings. they did not keep any of their free agents. Many free agents not worth re-signing for New York there. Free agent signings, though, they did do a bit of work in free agent signings there. So quarterback Tyrod Taylor, running back Matt Breida, wide receiver Richie James, tight end Jordan Akins, tight end Ricky Seals-Jones, and offensive lineman John Feliciano, offensive lineman Mark Lewinsky, defensive end Jihad Ward, defensive tackle Justin Ellis, and long snapper Casey Kreider. Losses wise, quarterback Mike Glennon, they lost a lot. Surprising they didn't re-sign any of these guys. Running back Devontae Booker, running back fullback Elijah Penny, wide receiver John Ross, tight ends Evan Ingram and Kyle Rudolph, offensive tackle Nate Solder, guard Will Hernandez, offensive lineman Matt Skira, defensive tackles Danny Shelton and Austin Johnson, linebackers Lorenzo Carter, Benardrick McKinney, Reggie Ragland, and Jalen Smith, corner James Bradbury, safety Jabril Peppers, defensive back Logan Ryan, and punter Riley Dixon. Yeah, again, I'm surprised they didn't re-sign any of those guys that they lost. A lot of good names. They were trying to clear cap, I guess, but weirdly enough, they did not re-sign any of those guys. And look, the Giants have a very difficult schedule. It is not going to be pretty, I don't think, for them. I have them going, let's see, 4. I have the Giants going 4-13. I don't believe in New York this year. Look, Brian Daboll can only do so much. Ken Dorsey can only do so much as the new offensive coordinator. Or no, Ken Dorsey's the offensive coordinator for Buffalo. Never mind. But yeah, Daboll can only do so much to help Daniel Jones. I have them going 1-5 in division. It starts off brutal. I mean, at the Titans, they're going to lose that one. Versus the Panthers, they're going to lose that one. One of the first start game I have is the Cowboys. The only reason, it's a Monday night game. Another one I have starred the next week against the Bears. That's their first win. That's a home game for them. I think they can get the Bears. It's early enough on in the season. Justin Fields won't be comfortable still. At the Packers, that's my next start game. That's a game in London. So they're going to lose that one. Long way to travel to lose. But start because it's a special game. I have them winning against the Jags, winning at the Jags, and winning at the Seahawks. Week 7 and 8 there. Could see those flip. Wouldn't be surprised. Could also see the Texans and Lions games flipped to wins, possibly. They host both of those teams in MetLife. So I have those as losses, but could see them winning. At the Cowboys, that's a start game. Thanksgiving game for that one. They're going to lose. They're going to get swept by the Eagles and the Giants. And no other games starred for me. So 4-13 for New York, 1-5 in division. Fantasy wise, quarterback Daniel Jones. No, don't draft him. Don't keep him on your roster. Not worth it. The uncertainty, the inconsistency. It's just too much of a headache. I guess he's rosterable in Dynasty, but again, I wouldn't. There's a lot better options. Running back Saquon Barkley. Look, Saquon. I'm kind of about to go on a rant because I have him in a couple of my fantasy leagues, right? But that's because I believe in Saquon this year. I think 2 years in a row, it's just like Christian McCaffrey, though. 2 years in a row, right? He's gone down with injury. Has not played well. I think this is it. Saquon is expected to get a massive load with not much production behind him this year. There isn't anyone to turn to if Saquon gets hurt again for the Giants. Or if he isn't producing like they want him to. I think Dayball's system will be very good for him. I think he's going to run the ball well. They have a good enough offensive line. It's not great, but it's good enough, middle of the pack, to assist Saquon and let him run the way he wants to run. So I think Saquon's going to have a good season. Most definitely draft Saquon in the second round. Wide receivers, Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard. I don't like any of them. Galladay's been one of the biggest free agent busts in recent history. So far, he's been hurt. Even when he's been on the field, he hasn't produced to the level of what his contract says. So, yeah, I don't like him. Toney is an intriguing guy late in the draft that I think you could take a shot on if there aren't any other receivers that you like. I like a lot of them. I think there's a lot of value at receiver in the later rounds. That's why I personally think you should go running back early. And then Sterling Shepard, again, it's a guy that doesn't necessarily stay on the field a lot. He's the wide receiver 3 now with Toney ascending. So I would not roster him. Giants defense also is not rosterable. Very poor, especially against the pass. I don't think they're going to be very good stopping quarterbacks this year. Against the run, I think they should be okay. They have some players on the defensive line, Leonard Williams, lost Andy Shelton, but I think, and Austin Johnson. So maybe their run game takes a bit of a hit from that, but they do have some decent linebackers as well. Kayvon Thibodeau, the rookie there. Kicker Graham Gano, he's a guy that's rosterable, I think. Has had some good seasons with New York so far in terms of fantasy points. So I think he's a guy that you can roster, but he's lower. He's one of the guys that's close to being off the board for me in terms of a starting kicker, especially in like a 10 or 12 man. Rookies, wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson, tight end Daniel Bellinger. Bellinger's in concussion right now. I think Bellinger is not a guy that you're going to look at and want to roster, and definitely not in redraft and dynasty either. Robinson is a guy that I think he's being drafted in redraft leagues. I'm just not sure what his role is going to be on the offense and what slot in the pecking order at wide receiver he's going to be yet. So he's a guy I think definitely draftable in dynasty. I would stay away from him in redraft leagues though. The Eagles, my boys, your 2023, your Super Bowl 57 champion Philadelphia Eagles. And you know what's crazy? I had a dream last night, right? I had a dream that the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. But I had a dream that they won the Super Bowl. Do I know that it's this year? No. Do they have the talent this year? Hell yeah. Howie Roseman, I've consistently called him the best GM in the NFL, and I think you'll see why this season. Re-signings wise for Philadelphia, running back Boston Scott, wide receiver Greg Ward, who has subsequently been cut, center Jason Kelsey, defensive end Derek Barnett, and defensive tackle Fletcher Cox. Free agent signings, trade acquisitions. The Eagles signed or traded for wide receiver A.J. Brown, massive upgrade there. They also signed wide receiver Zach Pascal in free agency, getting him reunited with Nick Sirianni. They signed linebackers Hassan Reddick and Kaiser White. They corner James Bradbury, and safeties Anthony Harris and Jaquiski Tartt, both of whom have subsequently been cut. And we'll add in the trade for safety CJ Gardner-Johnson as well. Great trade for Philly. Losses, running back Jordan Howard, guard Brandon Brooks, and defensive end Ryan Kerrigan both retired. Defensive tackle Hassan Ridgeway, linebackers Jannard Avery and Alex Singleton, corner Steven Nelson, and safety Rodney McLeod. Look, a lot of those guys I don't think were key contributors for Philly. At least who they replaced them with are very good replacements or even upgrades. When you're talking about Steven Nelson, look, we got James Bradbury. Talking about Rodney McLeod, look, we got CJ Gardner-Johnson. Guard, we had Landon Dickerson we drafted last year. We also got Cam Jurgens, who we drafted this year. So I think Howie has done a great job of replacing what they lost. Linebacker got a lot better with the Nakobe Dean draft selection and the signing of Kaiser White. So, yeah, I think they'll be all right. Okay, schedule-wise, let's talk through this one here. So at the Lions week 1, I had that as a win. It's very difficult to be unbiased, but this is what we have. I think week 2, that is a home game. If it was in Minnesota, I think that might be a loss, but it's a win against the Vikings Monday Night Football week 2. At the Commanders, that is a win. Or no, that is a loss. Or no, yeah, that's a loss. That's a loss week 1, week 3 at the Commanders. They'll split with the Commanders and the Cowboys. But that is a loss at the Commanders. They beat the Jags at home. They lose in Arizona. Or no, that's without DeAndre Hopkins. Give me the win. Give me the win at Arizona week 5. They win against the Cowboys. That's a home game, right? It's Sunday Night Football. That is home in Philly. I hope the Eagles wear their black jerseys that night to go with the black helmets because I want to black out in Philly for that game. So we should have a good game there on primetime and win that one. I do have them. I'm going to give them a loss to Pittsburgh. It's at home in Philly, but I think the Steelers are a good team. They're going to lose that one. They're going to win at Houston on Thursday night, week 9. Week 10, Carson Wentz comes to town on Monday night. He is going to get annihilated by the Philly crowd, and the Eagles are going to win that one. They're going to win. They're going to actually – no, I'm going to give them the loss in Indianapolis for that one. Very good team there, and Frank Reich will have the insight on his pupil in Nick Sirianni. They're going to beat the Packers. I'm telling you. They beat them last year in Green Bay. They're going to beat them this year in Philly. That's a Sunday night game. So tough one for the Packers there. I'm going to have them lose to the Titans. They're going to sweep the Giants. So I had that one as a win and week 18 as a win. They'll beat the Bears in Chicago. They'll lose in Dallas. And they're going to lose to the Saints. So I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have the Eagles going 11-6. Now, do I know that's going to be enough to win the division? No, I don't. But I think it's a good start. They start off 5-1, 5-2, 6-3, 7-3 through the first 10. So, yeah, I like that. I like the Eagles this year. I think 11-6 is a good mark, especially in the NFC East. Quarterback, fantasy-wise, Jalen Hurts, draft him. He's going to be a top 5 fantasy quarterback this year. Run, throw. He's going to do everything for you. He's going to ascend to the next level of Jalen Hurts. Running back, Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell. Miles Sanders is a middling guy in fantasy right now. Not many people know where to take him. I don't, because I haven't taken him in a draft yet. But he's a guy that I'd probably stay away from right now. you just don't know if he's going to stay healthy for one, and how much the Eagles are going to utilize him, and how much pressure does he have from Kenneth Gainwell behind him as a second-year player there. So I would probably stay away from both Sanders and Gainwell at this point. But if you're going to draft Sanders, you better draft Gainwell because I think Gainwell has supplanted Boston Scott as far as the number 2 running back right now. Wide receivers, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins. A.J. Brown's going to be a stud. Draft him in the, I don't know. You could probably get A.J. Brown in the 3rd, 4th round. So A.J. Brown is going to be a stud. He has been when he was with the Titans. He's going to continue to be that guy in Philly. Definitely draft him. Devontae Smith is draftable too. The hope is that A.J. Brown creates openings for Devontae Smith. So he will be able to elevate his game this year as well. And you can get him obviously later than A.J. Brown being the quote unquote number 2 wide receiver. I like to think that they're 1A, 1B. So yeah, Devontae Smith, you can get him later, probably in the mid rounds, 6, 7, 8. Quez Watkins is a guy I wouldn't draft. 3rd wide receivers rarely get enough production to produce. So probably going to stay away from Quez Watkins. Tight end Dallas Goedert, definitely draft him. Might end up being the number 3 option in the passing game, but he's going to get his stats. Jalen Hurts likes to throw it to him, so I think we'll see him have a nice season. Maybe not the type of season that the top guys are having, like Andrews and Kelsey and Kittle, but Dallas Goedert's definitely a starting caliber fantasy tight end, and I could see a situation where he ascends into the top 5 fantasy tight ends. Philly defense just got a lot better today with Gardner Johnson in the fold. I wouldn't take them yet, though. I would monitor them, and possibly if you're drafting 2 defenses, Philly's a great option to draft the second defense with. Or if you're picking one up early on in the season, I think Philly's a great option because there's a lot of potential there. I just need to see it on the field, and then I will be more comfortable with actually using a roster spot on them. Kicker Jake Elliott, yes, draft him. He's one of the most consistent kickers in the league and has one of the biggest legs. Consistently can kick 50 plus. Historically has been a little inconsistent with the mid-range shots, 35 to 50, 35 to 49. But I think he's good. He's pretty good and starting caliber kicker in fantasy. Only one rookie to talk about on offense for the Eagles, tight end Grant Calcaterra. You're not going to draft him in either redraft or dynasty. He's going to be the 3rd tight end this year if he didn't get cut, which I don't think he did. But yeah, he's not going to be a factor this year. More than likely not ever for Philly. Okay, the Commanders re-signings here. Running back J.D. McKissick, wide receiver Cam Sims, offensive tackle Cornelius Lucas, center Tyler Larson, and defensive back Bobby McCain. Free agent signings, trade acquisitions. Obviously, they traded for quarterback Carson Wentz from the Colts. They signed guards Andrew Norwell and Trey Turner, defensive end F.A. Obata, and kicker Joey Sly. Losses, quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick retired, wide receiver DeAndre Carter, wide receiver Adam Humphries, tight end Ricky Seals-Jones, offensive lineman Eric Flowers, guard Brandon Sheriff, defensive tackle Matthew Ioannidis, defensive tackle Tim Settle, linebacker John Bostic, corners DJ Hayden and Daryl Roberts, and safety Landon Collins. I think the Sheriff thing was massive loss for them on the offensive line. I think they might miss Ioannidis and Collins on defense as well. Schedule-wise, they will start off 2-0. I think they can beat the Jags at home and the Lions in Detroit. And they're actually going to start 3-0 because I haven't beaten the Eagles at home in DC. Then this is where the losing starts. They dropped 2 in a row in Dallas and against the Titans at home. I think they can beat the Bears in Chicago on a Thursday night, so I'll give them a win there. They'll lose to the Packers. They'll lose in Indy. I'm gonna have them lose to the Vikings as well, even though that's a home game. They'll lose in Philly on Monday night, week 10. I'm gonna shock everyone. They're gonna lose in Houston, week 11. They'll beat the Falcons. They will lose in New York. So I have them going 1-5 in division. They will win at home against the Giants, lose in San Fran, lose against the Browns, and lose to the Cowboys. So it looks bleak here for Carson Wentz. 6-11 for Washington. Their schedule is just tough. Packers, Colts, Vikings, Titans, 49ers, and Browns being very tough opponents there out of division. But games I have start here, the win at the Bears Thursday night game. I think they can get Chicago there. The Vikings game is one that I could possibly see a win happening, considering it is at home for the Commanders. Week 10 at the Eagles, that's a Monday night game. They're going to lose that one. And then week 11, the shocker at the Texans, they lose that one. I don't know. That's one of the gut feel wins for Houston that I have here. And then the interesting split of the bye with the Giants back-to-back in New York bye week, and then at home against the Giants, losing away, winning at home. So, yeah, that's how I have it. 6-11 for Washington. The fantasy wise for the Commanders, quarterback Carson Wentz. Look, I think he's a decent quarterback 2 option backup for your starter. We'll have to see how the first couple games go, but probably a guy I am not targeting. I think there's enough quarterbacks out there that are better options that you can get late in the draft. Running back, Antonio Gibson, J.D. McKissick. This thing changed entirely on its head, right? Now Antonio Gibson is the unquestioned starter because of the shooting that occurred with running back Brian Robinson. So, yeah, Gibson should now be elevated in fantasy drafts accordingly as an RB1. How long he will keep that job depends on how long he can hold on to the ball, because he has had fumbling issues. Not sure how long the leash is for Ron Rivera there with Antonio Gibson. J.D. McKissick is a guy that's draftable in fantasy. He's one of the rare instances at running back that is good enough on his own to be drafted by just his receiving game. He does not get a lot of carries in the running game, but receiving wise, he is a PPR nightmare. So yeah, JD McKissick, definitely draftable. Draft him late, possibly as a handcuff to Antonio Gibson. Wide receivers, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel. McLaurin is great. Draft him in the 3rd round-ish, maybe a little bit later if you can swing it. But yeah, McLaurin is a great option regardless of who's under center in Washington. Curtis Samuel is a guy I think is draftable as well. Healthy again this year now. So the hope is he stays that way. And a guy you can draft later on to be your wide receiver 3, possibly a flex option. Tight end Logan Thomas, the big key for him is always injuries. Is he going to be healthy or not? The talent has always been there. I think he's a solid tight end too. Washington defense, I don't believe in the Washington defense right now. Look, they lost Landon Collins, John Bostic, a linebacker. They do have Chase Young, one of the best defensive ends in the league, but he can only do so much. Matthew Ioannidis gone in the middle there. I think their run defense is going to be affected with him out of the picture, even with Jonathan Allen and all the other first-round picks they have on the defensive line. I'm just not so sure their defense is going to be good, especially in the back end, the back 7. Kicker Joey Sly, he's decent. I don't have him as a fantasy starter, though. Just uncertain about what the Washington offense is going to be able to produce in terms of points and scoring opportunities for Sly. So I would maybe monitor him, but he's not on my list of starting kickers right now. Rookies, wide receiver Jahan Dotson, definitely a draftable option in both redraft and dynasty. Dynasty is probably going to go in the second round. Redraft, you're going to get him late, where most of the other rookies are going, running backs and wide receivers. So an option. We'll see how much he does, if he ascends to the number 2 wide receiver position behind McLaurin or not. That's the big question right now. Running back Brian Robinson, I mentioned him. Yes, he is down and out right now with the shooting that occurred in the attempted armed robbery on Sunday. But I like him a lot in Dynasty. He was going to be slated to be the number 1 running back. I drafted him in a couple of my fantasy leagues. Had to put him on IR whenever he gets that designation from Washington, probably tomorrow. But yeah, he's a guy I really like, especially in Dynasty. We'll have to see how he works back from the shooting. Quarterback Sam Howell, not a guy you're going to draft in redraft. Possibly you're not even going to draft him in Dynasty. He's a guy that has potential, played well in the preseason for a rookie. And if you have a roster spot in Dynasty and you need a quarterback, yeah, he's worth a slot, but mostly not gonna roster Sam Howell right now. Tight end Cole Turner. Yeah, again, I thought he was gonna maybe be the starter with Logan Thomas dealing with some injury issues throughout camp. I think Cole Turner has had injury as well here in camp, but a guy I like to keep in Dynasty potentially. If you have a roster spot available and you need a young tight end to be your kind of 3rd, 4th option there. But redraft, definitely you're not gonna draft him right now. Okay, the Cowboys, final team here, re-signings, wide receiver Michael Gallup, tight end Jeremy Sprinkle, tight end Dalton Schultz, their franchise tag player, defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence, linebacker Leighton Vander Esch, safeties Malik Hooker and Jaron Kearse, long snapper Jake McQuaid, and punter Brian Anger. A couple free agent signings that they did have. Wide receiver James Washington. He is out 6 to 10 weeks. Broken foot there for him. Defensive tackle Carlos Watkins, and linebackers Anthony Barr and Dante Fowler. Losses, running back Corey Clement, wide receiver Amari Cooper, they traded to the Browns. Wide receiver Cedric Wilson, tight end Blake Jarwin, offensive tackle Ty Nseki, guard Connor Williams, offensive lineman Lyle Collins, defensive ends Randy Gregory and Brent Urban, safety DeMonte KZ, safety Keanu Neal, and kicker Greg Zuerlein. So schedule-wise for Dallas, I have them losing to the Bucs week 1. I think that's too good of a matchup. They lost to the Bucs last year, week 1. They're going to lose again this year. Tom Brady's too good, even though it's in Dallas. Sunday night game though. Week 2, they're going to lose against the Bengals, defending AFC champs. Too much firepower for that Dallas defense to stop. They will win at the Giants. That is a Monday night game, week 3. They will beat the Commanders, week 4. They will lose in LA to the Rams. They'll lose in Philly to the Eagles. That's a Sunday night game. They'll beat the Lions. They'll beat the Bears. Bye week 9. I think they will lose in Green Bay. They'll beat the Vikings, though, in Minnesota. They'll beat the Giants on Thanksgiving at home. They will lose to the Colts on Sunday Night Football in Dallas, week 13. They'll beat the Texans. They'll win in Jacksonville. They'll beat the Eagles at home. They will lose at Tennessee. That's a Thursday night game at week 17. And then week 18, they will win against the Commanders. So I have the Cowboys going 10-7, 5-1 in division. So yeah, the Cowboys finished second. They are a wild card team, though. Key games are all the prime times. Bucks at home Sunday night, week 1. Giants in MetLife Monday night, week 3. Sunday night in Philly, week 6. Thanksgiving afternoon at home against the Giants. Week 12, week 13 Sunday night at home against the Colts, and then week 17 at the Titans Thursday night. No real surprises, I don't think. The only one I could see is they could lose in Minnesota, possibly dropping them to 9-8. And I could possibly see them winning against the Bucs week 1, however, on Sunday night, possibly going 11-6, which would win them the division, being 5-1, the Eagles 4-2 in division. Fantasy wise, Dak Prescott, quarterback, yeah, draft him. Don't draft him too high, but definitely draftable. He's thrown for 4,000 yards multiple seasons, so yeah, I like Dak. Mid-round quarterback, however. Running backs, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard. Look, if you're going to draft one, you got to draft the other. Zeke's going to be first, so if you're drafting Zeke, draft Tony Pollard too. Zeke has lost a little bit of his luster the last couple of years. I've had to stick with him in Dynasty, and I'm still sticking with him because I'm hoping Jerry's right. His comments in the preseason said that Zeke's going to get a workload, and Zeke's our guy, so back it up, Jerry. Make McCarthy give the ball to Zeke. Tony Pollard is a guy that's good enough in PPR to be a flex, though. A lot of people believe Pollard will eventually supplant Zeke. I don't think that's going to happen this year. So, but yeah, draft. If you're going to draft Zeke, make sure you get Pollard as a handcuff. Wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, James Washington. Washington out of the picture right now, 6 to 10 weeks with the broken foot. I think he's probably about 3 weeks-ish into that recovery. So we'll have to see when he comes back. But CeeDee Lamb, yes, great draftable wide receiver there. With Amari Cooper gone, Lamb's going to get a boatload of the receptions there, or the targets there. So, yeah, Lamb should see a big workload this year. I like him in the upper rounds. Probably the worst you're going to do with CeeDee Lamb is go round 5 or 6. Michael Gallup, draftable. I think it's a wide receiver 3-ish, flex option. Also going to see an uptick in work, being the number 2 this year, and as opposed to being the 3 that he was last year with Cooper there. So yeah, Gallup should be back, recovered from his ACL tear from last season. Head end Dalton Schultz, another guy I like. He's going to get again uptick in work with the Cooper targets available. Should be the number 2 passing option, I think. Anyways, on the franchise tag, has a lot to prove this year and wants the long-term deal. So I think Dalton Schultz could be a top 5 fantasy tight end this year. Dallas defense, I'm not drafting them right now. It's kind of like the Eagles. You got to sit and wait to see what they're going to do, because they did lose one of their best pass rushers in Randy Gregory. So you got to wait. You got to wait on Dallas D. Kavonte Turpin, however, makes it very intriguing very enticing to select them with his return ability, what he put on display against the Chargers in week 2 preseason. Kicker Brett Maher, no, I don't believe in Maher. He's not Zerline like they had, and not drafting Maher at all. Rookies wide receiver Jalen Tolbert, guy you can draft definitely in Dynasty. Take a flyer on him in the second. I like him more in the 3rd round of Dynasty drafts, but guy you can take a flyer on in redraft too. I think he's an intriguing late round option. That he's going to be the number 3 right now, and maybe if he does well, he could supplant Gallup as the number 2. Tight end Jake Ferguson, an intriguing option to add in Dynasty. You're not going to see him taken in redrafts, but in Dynasty, the reason he's interesting is because what happens if they don't re-sign Dalton Schultz? Jake Ferguson's probably going to be the starting tight end next year for the Dallas Cowboys. So maybe you can stash him, like my Dynasty League has a taxi squad. You can stash him on there the whole season and not have him take up a roster spot. Okay, college football preview. We have Thursday games to start week 1 of college football. Central Michigan at number 12, Oklahoma State. The Cowboys are a 20.5-point favorite. I love Oklahoma State this year. I think they're going to finish second in the Big 12 to Oklahoma, lose to them in the Big 12 title game. So, yeah, love Spencer Sanders, and the Oklahoma State Cowboys go fighting Mike Gundy's. Over-under for this one is 59.5. I think it goes over. Oklahoma State can put up a lot of points. Central Michigan's going to do their part and put up maybe 10. 7 p.m. on FS1. The Backyard Brawl. Louis Riddick's been tweeting out many pictures and things about this game. He will be broadcasting on ESPN for this one. West Virginia at number 17, Pitt. It's an old Big East rivalry. So, yeah, Pitt's going to win, though. Keaton Slovis, new quarterback there for the Panthers. I think he's going to do well, even without Jordan Addison. Pat Narduzzi gets his defense up to play, and JT Daniels will lose his debut as a Mountaineer. Over-under is 52. I like the under in that one. I think there's going to be a lot less points scored than people think. 7 p.m. though, ESPN. Ball State at Tennessee. Yeah, this is just a FBS versus FBS matchup. That's why it's on the card here. The Vols are 35-point favorites. I'm not sure about that number. I'd look into taking Ball State plus 35. Now they are breaking in a new quarterback, Drew Plitt, gone to the NFL. So that will be a key thing to research for those who are thinking of taking the 35 with the Cardinals. But the Volunteers are projected to get to be one of the highest scoring offenses this season in college football. We'll see if that comes to fruition with Josh Heupel or not, but I'm taking the Tennessee Volunteers. They should win this one easily. Just not looking into the 35. If I am, it's on the Cardinals side. Over under 68. Let's go over. I don't believe in the Volunteer defense. 7 p.m. SEC Network. VMI at number 22, Wake Forest. This game is interesting. I'd like to know what the line is for this game because I haven't seen one yet. And if they do have one posted, I would be interested to know what number we get for VMI and it's still not posted. So it's going to be a big spread, being a top 25 team versus a FCS team. But I would look into VMI if you can bet this game. Look, I'm not sure what Wake Forest is going to look like without Sam Hartman at quarterback. So while I do think wholeheartedly that the Demon Deacons win this by a good margin, depending on what the number is, I would look into possibly taking VMI against the number. 7:30 ACC Network. Here we go. The Nittany Lions. They're coming. They're headed to West Lafayette to play the Purdue Boilermakers. And of course, I'm picking my boys. I'm picking James Franklin, Sean Clifford, Parker Washington, and I can name a whole host of other guys. Joey Porter Jr. on defense. Taking Penn State. We're going to go into West Lafayette and beat Purdue and get back into the top 25 rankings week 2. It's a very difficult matchup for the week 1 start of the season, but I think Penn State has enough experience on offense, especially with Sean Clifford, to go into West Lafayette and win. Over-under is 53.5 under. Look, Brent Pry may be gone, but Penn State still has a very good defense, even though both offenses I think are going to be good. Aiden O'Connell for Purdue. Missing David Bell, however, going to the NFL, so we'll have to see who steps up in David Bell's absence there. 8 p.m. on Fox. Louisiana Tech at Missouri. Connor Bazelak, I think he transferred from Missouri. So what to see what the quarterback situation is for the Tigers. I think they're going to win SEC versus Conference USA. Louisiana Tech, while they are pretty good, they're not going to be good enough to beat Mizzou in Columbia, Missouri. So, yeah, give me the Tigers here. Over under for this game is 60.5. I don't know. I kind of like the under. Not sure how much firepower we're going to get here. 8 p.m. ESPNU. And the final game on Thursday night, New Mexico State 0-1 at the Golden Gophers, Minnesota. 36.5 for the Gophers in this game. Yeah, they're going to roll New Mexico State. They're going to show everyone why I picked them to win the Big Ten West. Tanner Morgan, Mohamed Ibrahim, Chris Ottman-Bell, and a whole host of other skill position receivers. Their defense is going to be pretty good. And again, I think this team's going to win the Big Ten West, and they're going to show everyone why I think that on Thursday night. Over-under is 53. We're hitting the over button. That's a great number for that game to go over. 9 p.m. Big Ten Network. Okay, next Monday, we will be back. College football week 2. We'll be talking recaps of all the week 1 NCAA games. We'll actually have a Monday night NCAA game to talk about there. And we'll also be talking NFL season opener preview, Bills, Rams, whole host of things to talk about with that game and the ramifications that could possibly have, pun intended, ramifications there. But that is the show for today. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media. You can see them here at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter, at FAA_bets. We will be pumping out plays once this game kicks off, the week of this game. So next week we will have a play for this game, possibly. And then www.faapodcast.com is our website. You can check us out here on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, etc. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you back for Football Friday.